Hello everybody and welcome back. Today we are doing a Hawks X Listener by Karamatsu_girl. Yeah, let's get into it. The Japanese hero Billboard charts went on without the beloved #1 hero All Might. In his place, Endeavor took the stand with the former #3 hero following him, Hawks. He stayed out of the spotlight for quite a while, but Hawks knew what he was doing. He cared little for hero work and would rather be living an easygoing life. Many saw him as a disgrace to all heroes, but he saw himself as an idealist. After the Billboard charts, there was an exclusive after-party to all of the heroes in the top 10. You were invited as Hawks +1 since the two of you were currently dating. You were unable to attend the ceremony itself because you wanted to prepare for the after-party, so you hadn't seen Hawks for most of the day. When the time came, you grabbed your clutch and headed to the car that awaited you. You felt excited to see Hawks and to have him see you in your carefully selected outfit. You didn't want to be formal, so you stuck with a low-cut blue dress and wedges. If you're a man, just choose whatever you want to wear. We're gender neutral here. Upon arriving, you could hear the blasting music from inside the building. You got out of the car, sucked in a breath, and headed in. The after-party was held in a club, so the scene before you looked pretty much as you expected. People were drunk off their asses and either doing crazy stunts or hitting the dance floor. As you passed through the crowd, you heard a few catcalls and howls, but you chose to ignore it. After all, there was only one person you wanted to see. "Hey honey, would you like a drink?" said a tipsy club-goer. You let out a little sigh and tried to move past him, but he grabbed onto your arm. "I don't take no for an answer," he threatened. Suddenly, he was hauled to the side and into a trash can, but there was no one directly behind him. From the trash can, a single feather came out and returned to its source. Another feather made its way to you and pushed you into the arms of your boyfriend, Hawks. "Why, hello, beautiful," he said as he snaked an arm around your waist. "Look at you, Mr. #2 hero. How does it feel?" you asked. He frowned and scratched the back of his head. "You know how I feel. I'd rather be with you than out there being a show pony." You flicked his forehead. "Hey, you're at the top of the charts. You better not say stuff like that to the public. People like you." He pulled you to a table and sat you down. It was obvious he didn't want to talk about his spot at the #2 hero. "Want me to get us some drinks?" you asked, hoping it would help change his mood. "You spoil me," he said with a smirk. "Be right back," you said. As you got up, you gave him a small peck and left. The club was really lively. You glanced at the dance floor and snorted at the sight. The usually silent and cool ninja hero Edgeshot was dancing around with an old broom. Others around him wanted a turn with the broom, but Edgeshot was too into it to let go. "Weirdos," you thought to yourself. "Hey, Ryan, long time no see," said Mirko, the #5 hero. "Ah, Mirko, hi. It's been a while," you said, and came in for a hug. Instead, Mirko put her arm around your neck and gave you a noogie. She was always the type to be aggressive with you. "Ah, okay, you win, stop," you shouted. She let go of you and let out a loud laugh. "Just like old times. Who are you here with?" she asked. You blushed and turned your head. "Hawks?" Her eyes narrowed and she shook her head. How could such an accomplished and beautiful person such as yourself end up with a slug like him? "He's not that bad. He's so sweet and cute. and you drifted off when thinking about Hawks. How do you even meet him? He hardly shows his face around. You pulled Mirko to the bar and took a seat with her. Well, it's kind of a long story. Flashback. You always looked forward to completing hero work. It was amazing to use your abilities to help those in need. Being recognized for it was also nice. Your quirk was Portal, which allowed you to make openings for you to travel through. When used correctly, it was really useful. You had just stopped a robbery at a store and finished talking to the authorities. You walked away from the scene and waved and greeted the people who watched. You felt a little overwhelmed by how many people were bombarding you with the flash of their phones and their shouts that you made a portal to the end of the crowd and walked away from there. You handled that really well, said a loud voice from behind you. You sighed, thinking you escaped the noise. You put on a quick smile and turned around. Think. You stopped short when you saw who the person was. He had tousled hair and huge wings sprouting from his back. You're Hawks, right? You asked. And you're beautiful, he said with a wink. You blushed slightly, but regained your composure. He'd been bugging you for weeks, for no reason. You would usually escape him with your portals. Did you need something? You asked. Aside from your number, not much. You couldn't believe how flirtatious he was. Look, I'm on duty, so I'd rather not. He frowned. Aw, man. Well, you were really something out there with that crook. What was his quirk again? Something with claws? Yeah, his nails grew out in an instant. I only got a scratch. Hawks chuckled. What's so funny? You asked. Well, darling, I'd say he left you with a little more than a scratch. Stripes look good on you, by the way. You were confused. Stripes? He pointed downward. You looked down at yourself and saw that there was a huge tear in your costume. Your whole thigh was exposed, and your striped underwear peeking through. Oh my God! Look away! You shrieked. Don't know if I want to, said Hawks. Pervert, you yelled. You opened a portal beneath your feet and disappeared before he could say anything else. You reappeared on the top of a building, a good 3 blocks away from him. You tried to pull up the torn fabric, but to no avail. Wow, you're fast, said Hawks. He was flying right above you, and your face burned with embarrassment. Leave me alone, you yelled. You made another portal to another rooftop, but Hawks followed. This went on for about half an hour before you fell over from exhaustion. Your quirk wasn't meant to be used for that long. You're quite the fighter. I like that, said Hawks. You huffed and picked up an empty can and weakly threw it at him. Die. He caught the can and tossed it aside. Love to, but I'd love your number first. You couldn't believe how far he'd gone for your number. This was crazy. Give me your phone, you creep, you huffed. He beamed and handed you his phone. You quickly made yourself a contact and handed it back to him. Now I can die happy. Please let me take you out to eat. You chuckled. I can't even stand. Look at my costume. It's ruined. No worries, he said. He detached a few of his feathers and they hooked to your cape and lifted you up. You squirmed a little and they brought you up to his arms. He held you bridal style and took you to the sky. Where do you live? He asked. You're crazy, you shouted. Crazy about you, he cooed. You decided not to fight it since you were too tired, and you were hundreds of feet above the ground. You led him to your apartment, and he barged in, although you told him to wait outside. Wow, it's so neat in here. Is that a cat? He said, as he saw a moving ball of fur scurry to the kitchen. His name's Mittens, and don't touch him, you yelled from your room. He went to the kitchen anyway. You quickly changed into a clean blouse and some black jeans. You held up your costume and tossed it on your bed. You grabbed a bag and keys and headed to the door. Hawks, you said. You stepped out of the kitchen with your cat cradled in his arms. I think he likes me, he said. You laughed and told him to hurry up. The two of you walked to a cafe and chatted a while. Though he was really strange, you liked his company. He was so honest about everything, and you even found yourself agreeing to his complaints about being a hero. So can I ask you a question? He asked. Sure. Wanna go out with me? You choked on your drink, and he pat your back. You coughed a bit before replying. Sure. He smiled and put a hand over yours. Can I ask a question? You asked. Anything. Do you sleep in a nest? Present time. Mirko hollered at the end of your story. So, does he? You smiled. No, thank God for that. You felt two hands on your shoulder and a chin on the top of your head. Why, and you abandoned me. I'm hurt, said Hawks. Just catching up with an old friend, you said. You put your hand over his, and he lowered his arms around your neck. Mirko rolled her eyes and got up. You two need a room, or a nest. Not all of us are lovebirds. Maybe we should get a room, purred Hawks. Maybe, you replied. Alrighty, that was a Hawk Sex listener. I hope you all enjoyed. Yeah, sorry about my bird and my younger brother screaming in the background, because now they're both doing it. Anyway, I hope you all enjoyed, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!